Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I have the Marvel Legends Scarlet Spider. I was super freaking excited when I saw this figure get announced because I missed out on the last Scarlet Spider, which seems to be a very common story for me. I just miss out on every action figure because I have a rule that I've broken a little bit recently where I only buy figures that I can find in stores. And if you're a collector of action figures, you know only buying in store is basically like shooting yourself in the foot. You're gonna miss out on pretty much every cool figure. But recently, uh, I've had a lot of luck, and this is one of those times where I just walked into Target not expecting to find anything because God, it's been empty for weeks, and I find the Scarlet Spider figure that I've seen all over the internet. I've been super jealous of everyone who's gotten their hands on this figure because I think it looks super freaking good. And now I have my hands on it, so I guess let's go ahead and get into it. Starting with the front of the box, you have this nice, beautiful, classic 90s style Spider-Man animated series artwork with the Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider over here on the side. You have this nice window here showing you the figure and everything he comes with. Then we go ahead and turn it around so we can see the back, and you have more artwork of the Scarlet Spider, and then that kind of classic style tutorial, I guess, showing you how to, you know, swap the hands, because that's really the only thing it can do. I can zoom in so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So there is, of course, the thing I'm talking about, and there's the other thing I'm talking about. All the little words, the little bio of Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider. If you want to read it yourself, you can go ahead. You're more than welcome to, and we can zoom back out just like so. I don't know. I guess I didn't need to focus on that because it was already pretty focused, right? And then we're back to the front of the box, so we can go ahead and transition to the figure. Okay, so this is pretty much everything you get. Obviously, things are down here where you can't see them. Let's see, let's grab the two web flipping hands. I'm going to have to change the focus so you guys can actually see them. So you have two of these more standard web flipping hands. Of course, these are things you would see across every Spider-Man figure, or most of them. I guess not all of them come with these hands, but they should. If they don't, that's really dumb. These ones are just not textured with webbing or painted with webbing at all, because this is the Scarlet Spider, who lacks any sort of webbing, as you can see unfocused in the background. But yeah, they look great. They feel like hands. They look like hands. I like the way they look for a standard Spidey hand. And then you have the more wall crawling hands right here, of course. They also look just as good. Same situation. Not painted with webbing because that is his style, and they look great. They look exactly like the wall crawling hands would look across any Spider-Man figure. So, unfortunately, we don't have any webbing or anything like that. Nothing to go along with this figure, but you do get a lot on the figure, so I think that makes up for a lot that is lacking as far as accessories go. Let's go ahead and get him so you guys can see him. And this is what he actually looks like. Of course, he has this beautiful looking torn up sweatshirt with the spiders kind of spray painted on. Of course, on this one, it doesn't really look like it's spray painted on. It looks like it's printed on. I think I've seen on other Spider-Man figures, this actually looks a lot more spray painted. Like you just have a stencil and spray the paint on to the sweatshirt. I don't know. I guess I don't really care. Is that really like a thing? I'm trying to think back because this really isn't like, I wasn't really around when this character first debuted back in the 90s. Um, so I'm trying to think how it was and if this works. I mean, obviously it works. I don't really care that it's not giving you that spray paint effect. I'm just trying to think how integral it is to the design. I don't think it really matters that much. This obviously just has that printed on quality to it. So If you don't like that, I'm sorry. Bummer, I guess. He has the web cartridges all the way around his wrists and all the way around his cool little 90s style belt that goes all the way around. It looks awesome. It's so goofy, but it looks awesome. Everything about this guy is goofy, but looks awesome. And then you have these pouches on his legs because back in the 90s, everyone had pouches, and it looks really, really good. I like the details, the paintwork. The paintwork across the board on this figure just looks absolutely stunning. And I'm blown away by what I'm looking at here. And then the last thing I neglected to mention was this really, really, really cool mask with the cool eye designs. I really love the way his eyes were designed back then. The point and right here where they kind of the gap between the two eyes. I think it looks really, really mean and menacing. It's definitely a different vibe for Spider-Man, and I think it works totally. This was such a obviously we all know if you know anything about comic books, you know the storyline wasn't like anything to write home about, right? But the character design and the character going forward beyond the comic was just beloved. Like everyone loves this design, and they've changed it since then. I believe most recently in the past Spider-Man wave, we just got the new Ben Reilly look. I don't know. I haven't read that comic yet. I want to. I'm actively reading up to it. I'm in. Gosh, the last Spider-Man comic I read, he just beat Kindred, and that was a tough one to get through. And based on what I've heard, it only gets tougher. But from what I've seen, Ben Reilly, they made him a bad guy again, which a lot of people obviously hate because that's no fun, making Ben Reilly a bad guy again. And they changed his suit to be like a black and green and purple, I think. And it's Chasm, I think is what they call him. I'm just going based off of memory. I don't know 100% for sure. But I think that's what they did. And I hated it. I hate the look. I hate the design. I hate everything about it. The previous Ben Reilly Spider-Man costume with the... It looks more like a typical Spider-Man costume, just with the crooked spider on it, which I guess is symbolic of Ben Reilly, just crooked spider. I think that worked. I think that was a good look. I have that action figure, of course. But nothing has since topped this. Not like with Miles, where we've had alternate Miles costumes, and a lot of them have actually been pretty good. Like, a lot of people think the sweater Miles costume might actually be superior to the regular old Spider-Man Miles costume, the black and red one. And then there's also the hoodie version of his costume, which a lot of people really like. He's had multiple costumes that are just beloved. Ben Reilly's really only had this. And it's really not been topped. Outside of the one that I think is, like, fine. It's decent. So it's just awesome to have an action figure of that look and that design that looks really as good as it does. I mean, obviously, this is my first impressions of the action figure. This is after I open it out of the box, and I think it looks really, really cool. Obviously, I haven't spent much time with it and gotten to love it, but I'm just very excited to have this figure in my hands. And I've almost said obviously 3 times in a row in the past 2 minutes. I caught myself before I did it. But I also lost my train of thought while doing that. I was going to say something about blah, 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 blah. He looks really cool. I'm digging it so far. First impressions. I don't know where I was going with that. I guess we can go over articulation since we've talked about the design, so let's move on to that. Starting with this head, it does have the notch in the back. Let me point it somewhere you can see. The notch right there. I don't love that. They do that to give you the added range of motion to look straight up. I'd rather just give us a disc. Give us a disc right here, and that would work perfectly fine. I think Spider-Man figures uniquely need the disc because it gives you that huge range of motion going back and forth. And when you're in a Spider-Man pose, like on the ground, looking up at a guy, Obviously, I'm not doing that right now. But when you're in that pose, you need to look way up higher than any action figure would. That doesn't accomplish that, and I don't mind losing, the wacky, like, things you can do with the ball, so you can wiggle side to side, rotate all the way around like so. I don't mind losing some of that for added range of motion looking up, because that's more important in my Spider-Man. And then it also gives you this kind of ugly. I mean, look at that! Look at that huge gap right there. It almost looks like his head is floating, like I don't know. He's like some Scooby Doo villain where his head's just like floating above his neck. It doesn't look great. And it also just, that notch does not solve the issue of it not moving back far enough. I'd rather have the disc. That's where I'm going to end that thought, I guess. Arms come up to about right there. Pretty buttery smooth, I think. Not too tight. The arms and legs of these Marvel Legends have been really kind of obnoxiously tight recently. So it's been kind of like, ooh, I don't want to lift that, but these feel kind of fine. They still feel kind of gummy and like they're about to break, but the arms move. The arms move just as much as you would want them to, and it goes up to about where you'd want it to be. It looks like it's on a butterfly joint, so it can go back just like so and forward. Not too well, actually, okay. If you force it, it'll go forward. Obviously, this sweatshirt will block it just a little bit. It rotates all the way around like so. No hindrance whatsoever. This is soft enough that it will get out of the way. Double jointed pinless elbows comes up to about right there. Wrist goes in. Wrist goes out. Wrist goes all the way around like so. Pretty much no hindrance from the web shooter cartridges that are right there on the wrist. So that is good. Ab crunch. This is the thing. Same with the Last Stand Spider-Man figure that is also a part of this wave. I believe it's a part of this wave. Now that I've said that, I'm not entirely sure. The leather jacket Spider-Man and the Luke Cage that came out not too long ago. As soon as we all saw those figures, we were kind of worried about ab crunch and ab articulation. Fortunately, this is just a regular old Spider-Man figure. Nothing has changed about the ab articulation. He has the cut at the, I call it the diaphragm cut. I don't think that's what it is, but he has that cut at the upper waist so he can move side to side, back and forth. And then he has the regular old lower cut right there so you can go back like so, forward like so. Just exactly what you're expecting out of a Spider-Man figure. The only difference is this hoodie is in the way, and it's not articulated. The hoodie is thick plastic. It's not going to move out of your way exactly like you would want it to, but I don't think it hinders it too much based on what I just felt right there. I mean, it goes down deep enough. It wiggles side to side. No issues there. It goes back pretty good. All that is fine. It's so far fine. Legs come up to about right there. They actually go very high. Is that drop down? Yes. Drop down hips, just so you know. Pull them on down and they will come. Oh my god. Oh my god, that was a sentence and a half. He can do the splits. He can do the... Well, he has a swivel at the upper diaphragm cut area. The thigh, that's what that's called, that will spin around like so. Ooh, actually, what happened there? Ooh, okay, what is that? What's going on there? There's like a... You guys seeing what I'm seeing? There's like a swivel here at the thigh area right there. It's like a McFarlane figure where it kind of turns in and out just a little bit. That's interesting. I wonder... Huh. What is that? I'm trying to see where it's at, because surely it's not down in there. I'm holding it too high. Surely it's not, like, in that area that's spinning. Right? So is it up there? I can't figure out where that articulation's coming from. But that's cool. It'll rotate in and out for you, I guess, to give you a added range of mobility. I appreciate that. I love that. I think that is very cool. Double jointed, pinless knees comes up to about right there. Swivel at the thigh, not the thigh, the calf. Rotates all the way around like so. Ankle goes down. Ankle goes up. And, of course, a toe hinge. Unfortunately, you probably can't tell now, but when I opened the package, my toe hinge on this foot was a little scuffed up, a little dinged and danged. And I thought it was like a defunct figure. I was a little worried. I was a little concerned. And all I had to do was just squeeze a little bit, fix the issue. So, crisis averted. Because there were two of these, and if I got the one that was kind of scuffed up at the bottom, I would have been heartbroken. But totally fine. Totally acceptable conditions on this figure, and I am very happy. The articulation is not hindered at all by this sweatshirt. I appreciate that. The sculpt work, the paint work, everything about it looks wonderful. This hood does not move, but it looks like it's glued in right there. And you can lift it up here. So you could take it off if you didn't want it, but I don't know what that would look like. You can kind of see it separating right there. Probably it would look like you pulled something off that wasn't meant to be pulled off. These are nice and soft, so these move out of the way easily enough. If you're like, I don't know, if you need those to move for whatever reason, they will move. I think that's more so because if they were stiff, they would break if you just accidentally like brush against it. I'm still worried about them breaking just because of the way they are. They are tiny little string things, so that is a concern, them snapping off just over time and over a few years of having this figure, articulating it, and you just brush against it and it'll pop off. But beyond that, I'm not seeing anything wrong with this figure. Somebody on Reddit said after like a few days of owning this, I can safely say I hate this figure. I don't understand what they're talking about, because after a couple minutes, I literally can't see how, after messing with this figure a little bit more, I could hate it in any way. It's one, using the best Marvel Legends sculpt that is in use currently. The best Marvel Legends sculpt that we have available. The Spider-Man sculpt from Renew Your Vows. The one that really kind of just what is the word I'm looking for? The sculpt that kind of set fire to the industry, I guess. It's using that sculpt, and it's not hindered at all by this little design, this little sweatshirt, this little piece of personality that Ben Reilly has. It's that sculpt on an iconic looking character, and I think it looks absolutely wonderful. There's nothing about the accessories, the little web shooters, the little pouches down here, none of that is gonna hinder an already incredible sculpt. So you just have that incredible figure as Ben Reilly. So I don't know. I think this is a wonderful figure. I'm very, very happy that I have it. This suits Ben Reilly, this sculpt, better than I think Spider-Man does. I mentioned recently that I think a lot of these Spider-Man figures are perhaps maybe a little too thick, a little too buff. But when I imagine Ben Reilly, I imagine him being a little thicker and a little more buff, because all he does is Spider-Man, or at least that's how I know him from when he was first introduced. I don't know. Did he get a personal life since then? Has he? What does he do now? Because when I imagine Ben Reilly, I just imagine like a Batman as Spider-Man, because all he does is fight crime and like brood, because he's so mad. So like, I don't know. I imagine him being in this thicker sculpt. And I imagine regular Spider-Man being maybe a little bit more slender. Just a hair, just a touch. So I think this suits Ben Reilly more than it suits the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. So this might... I mean, I was just introduced to the figure, but this might beat that figure. I don't know. I don't know. I know I'm talking crazy. I'm excited to have this figure. This is. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but this might be one of my better videos I've ever made, just because of the way I'm talking. I think sounds great, and it looks great because of this new camera, and it sounds great because I'm using a microphone. So, very exciting things happening over at Trilly Toys. So thank you guys so very much for watching. If you're still watching, I doubt you are. My viewer retention tends to after the first like 20 seconds and they hear my voice. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe. All the things YouTubers ask you to do, just do it for me as well. I noticed when I was editing, this was turned the wrong way, and that is very annoying. I don't know why I don't have the one I actually worked on. I don't know why I don't have that one up here and have that one in the background. I don't know what I was thinking when I did that. I'm probably going to switch that around now that I think about it. But, I love this camera. This camera's so cool. Thanks so much for watching. I will be back in another video, hopefully very, very soon. Bye.